were you doing outside?
Nothing, just looking at the moon. Where were we?
All right, flowers.
What about flowers?
You've got to cut down on flowers, Rose. You've got the botanical gardens growing in here.
I need my flowers. They sweeten my life.
And they're destroying your bank account. Get artificial flowers. They don't die.
And they don't smell either. I need aroma. A room without flowers is like a house without air. I can't write if I can't breathe, especially without a man in my life.
What's a man got to do with it?
A woman has to smell something, especially at my age. Did you ever really smell a strong, interesting man? If they could bottle that, there'd be no lonely women in the world.
I've dated a few who wore the wrong cologne. The date was over before I opened the door.
Exactly. Walsh never wore the wrong cologne. His body just emitted the essence of who he was. The smell of strength. The odor of intelligence. Oh, the aroma of sexuality.
I'll take a dozen. Now can we continue trying to save you from bankruptcy and disaster?
Why? Did you ever smell money? Cold, hard cash? It has the smell of 1,000 greasy fingers on it. You don't know where it's been, or who's touched it, or what disease thing it slept with.
Rose, it's 1:45 in the morning. We've been at this all night, and we still haven't cut out a nickel from your budget. Your bills keep mounting, your debt's increasing, and still you made a fresh lobster for dinner.
I didn't notice you turning down any claws.
You're a great cook, Rose, but a tuna salad would be just as filling in 1/10 the price.
Rub your tongue on the cracks of your teeth. So good that if you don't brush your teeth, there's enough leftovers in there for tomorrow.
You can't pay your bills with what's left in the cracks of your teeth. You haven't sold or written a book or a short story or an idea on a napkin for 5 years.
Since Walsh died. Sometimes I think I only wrote to hear what he thought of it.
Get rid of the flowers, cut out the lobsters, or write birthday cards for Hallmark before you go bust, Rose.
You need more sensuality in your life, Arlene. Have you had any lately?
Not with lobster in the cracks of my teeth.
All right, don't say anymore. Let me think.
You bought 6 new books this month and you haven't read one of them. You have to stop deliveries to the house, Rose.
I love deliveries.
Rose? Rose, can you hear me?
She's right, Rose. How many photos do you have of me around this place? $10 worth of film and $10,000 worth of frames from Tiffany's. You don't need it. Not worth it.
You are to me.
I am to you what?
Oh, I just closed my eyes for a second. Sorry.
You were talking to him again, weren't you? Another midnight chat with Walsh McLaren.
Walsh is gone. No one can talk to him.
I think you spend more time in that world than in this one.
Well, I don't ask him to come in. He pops in on his own.
You must have something to do with it.
Well, I'm sitting here and he says something to me. I can't be impolite, can I?
Sorry, Rose, you call me. I can't get here without you calling me first. Can't even meet you in a hotel room if you don't book it first.
It only happens now and then. I'm trying to cut down.
What are you looking at?
I miss him. Is that all right to say?
Yeah, I miss my dead father too, but I don't talk to him every night. Let it go, Rose. It's 5 years now.
5 years, 50 years. What's that got to do with it?
I have an analyst who told me that half the widows in the world still speak to their dead spouses.
Well, no wonder I have so much trouble getting through to Walsh.
She knows one woman who's been talking to her dead husband for 41 years, and now she wants a divorce.
And you don't find that inspiring?
I'm not even married, Rose. I'm not looking for an afterlife experience.
Why not? You take what life has left to give you.
Don't make up phrases, Rose. There's no such saying.
Yes, there is. I said it. I wrote it. I'm Rose Steiner. I'm a famous writer.
Then don't talk to him at night. Write a book about it. Rose and Walsh. It would bring some money into the house.
he'd come back from the grave and rip the brains out of my typewriter.
It's late, Rose. I need at least an hour and a half of sleep a night. I'm going to bed. Don't buy any flowers tonight. They're beginning to creep up into my bedroom. Are you coming up?
Not yet. I always enjoy sitting in this room.
You're going to talk to him again, aren't you?
No, I promise I won't. We're both too tired anyway.
Because if you do, I'll run the shower.
Up, Rose. Come on, get up. Don't waste any of these precious moments. What were we talking about?
When?
Last week, last month, 5 years ago. I don't keep track of these things. You do.
5 years ago, you were alive, Walsh. Do you remember being alive?
Yeah, because the food tasted a lot better. Hell, I remember when I was 22 and I had a full head of thick hair that stood up like some crazy African plant, and I wore a gray tweed Dapper Dan suit that was so thick it wouldn't get wrinkled no matter if I was in a flood.
Oh, yes, I love it when you spit out the dialogue like fireworks.
Jesus, we were a hot couple. You weren't some kid, but you were the first dame that I saw in that bar.
I reeled you in like a tiger shark, kicking and fighting for your life.
Reel me in, baby, I said. Hey, whose place was that we almost demolished that night?
Oh, my husband's. Well, we weren't married then. A cute little bald guy who knew how to hold on to a job. Something that couldn't have occurred to you. Still, I needed someone like you to break the stallion in me.
Hell, you weren't a stallion. You were the lead buffalo in a Texas stampede.
Damn right I was, wasn't I? Oh.
Hey, how'd we end up in Mexico that night?
Oh, we stole a car and headed south looking for cheaper gas.
Ay, Dolores. That's right. We ended up in the back of some truck in a bed of avocados and peanut shells. And we ended up in San Diego eating raw catfish and crabs.
Hey, what about that brawl? You knocked out a priest wearing a sombrero.
Yeah, and the police chased us back across the border into Mexico. We ended up in some town that was nothing but prisons.
Oh, yes. We had separate cells, but we still managed to have the best night of lovemaking down Mexico way. God damn, that was fun.
We made love from separate cells?
Damn right.
I don't remember that.
Oh, sure you do. The mayor was throwing flowers and tortillas at us.
Never happened.
Oh, well. Let's leave it in anyway. They're just memories. Let's throw it in the pot.
Sorry, excuse me. Sorry.
We should have gone upstairs.
Why? She can't see us anyway.
Well, not you, just me, but she can hear us.
Can?
Well, not you, just me.
Talking to yourself?
Well, just me, not you. Where have you been? I've been waiting for you all night.
Well, truth is, something's come up, Rose. I wasn't sure how you were going to take it, so... Well, fact is, I've been hanging around here a long time, babe.
Oh, don't babe me. They don't say babe anymore. You sound like a caricature of yourself that fell off the wall at Sardi's.
Oh, come on. You know I was never on the wall at Sardi's. The last thing I'd want to do is watch a bunch of people who go to musical theater eating dinner. Mind if I have a seat?
Men don't ask if they can sit anymore. They just sit. You have to keep up with things, Walsh.
Look, I need some time off, Rose. It's been a lot of years, and I'm getting kind of lonesome for my crowd.
Like who? Scott and Zelda? Marcel Proust?
Well, they're better off than I am. At least they're in the hereafter, but I'm stuck in the hanging around down here.
I knew this was coming. I always hated the sight of your packed suitcase standing in the hall.
Tell the truth, Rose. Sometimes you packed that suitcase yourself and threw it down in the hall.
Well, I didn't see any point in waiting for the inevitable.
Well, I guess that's true enough. A man usually does make more promises than he ought to when he's in bed. Not that I ever intended to keep any of them. Hell, I always had to pay for my passions one way or another.
A $20 bill on the night table would have had more integrity.
Ah, you think too much of me, Rose. I rarely had the integrity or the $20. We gotta talk, Rose.
Let's go upstairs before she comes back down looking for a lobster sandwich. I'll grab some champagne and we'll put on a little retro music.
But there isn't much time for that.
We have time for everything. You don't have a bad heart anymore. You've got a back like a young man now, Walsh. Please come up to my room. I hate it when we make love and you're still down here.
Look, Rose, things are not the same anymore. Time just diminishes everything. And thanks to your vivid imagination, everything's worked up until now. But, well, the light's fading, Rose. Everything just comes harder for us now.
What I want, I can still make happen.
How many times do you have to keep calling me in from the beach? The signals are getting weaker, kid. Listen, I come night after night because I make the effort. My effort. But my effort and your imagination just ain't gonna last forever. You mean too much to me, kid, to see you lose your independence. If I have to leave, I'm not gonna do it without paying you back for more love and kindness than any human being, man or woman, has ever given me without expecting me to settle up the tab.
That's from one of my plays. I wrote that speech.
Oh, you write every speech. Every word I say is yours. That's why we've gotten along so well after all of these years. I'm trying to help you, damn it. Can't you see that, Rose?
By turning me down? By threatening to leave? This is my dream, Walsh, not yours. And in my dream, I don't diminish. I'm at the apex of my prime, kiddo. I lectured at 12 universities last year, and some of the standing ovations I got are still standing.
Listen, I'm not questioning the eternal quickness of your mind, just the ability of your mind to bring a buck into the house.
I'm not interested in a buck. Well, a young buck, yes.
Well, did I tell you it's my birthday in 2 weeks? I'll be 65.
I know.
Well, in my day, that was time to retire. My time is just over here, Rose. And the point is, I'm still going, whether you imagined it differently or not. Neither one of us can stop this clock from ticking. You just won't wake up and read the newspaper, can you?
Nor do I want to. Do you want to know why I don't wear my glasses anymore? Because you're not all that attractive at 2020. 2 more weeks. Is that all I've got? My God. I'll have my nights free. Well, you'd like that, wouldn't you, Walshy?
Well, you know how it is, Rose. Some things, like writing or dying, are just better done alone.
Quite frankly, sex with a dead man isn't half as good as I was led to believe.
Well, I don't want to leave you all broken and impoverished. Rose, how much money do you have?
Well, we have plenty. We had 3 lobsters for dinner.
Well, none of that is enough to pay for the renovations that you do in this place every year. Hell, you've got 4 closets full of 4 different wardrobes, and yet you still wear that same black Chanel outfit that the Smithsonian's waiting for.
Never judge a woman by what she wears. It's what she buys that counts.
Well, you're going into bankruptcy, kid. How are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to pay your bills?
I'll stoop to writing major motion pictures.
Well, I have a better way.
No, I am not selling your love letters. Okay, you wrote them when you were drunk, and I had to rewrite everything.
Listen, I know where you can lay your hands on a hot novel that's just begging to get published.
Tell them you're not 65. You lied about your age. What's their rush, damn it? I need you more than they do.
Listen, the book is called Mexican Standoff. It's an unfinished novel.
Whose unfinished novel?
Well, my unfinished novel. I had maybe 30, 40 more pages to go when I died at that luncheon. Remember?
Of course I remember. I served striped bass.
No, the heart attack. I was trying to tell you about it. I said, get me an ambulance. But you thought I was talking about the fish.
Why'd you make me go back to that day, Walsh? It was the worst day of my life.
Well, I wanted to give you the book. I couldn't move. It was in the cabinet, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't say a word.
Your face turned white. Your hands were cold. I knew it was over then, Walsh, and somehow I wanted to go with you.
Well, the book is still right there in the cabinet, Rose. I kept it there for you.
I don't want your unfinished book, Walsh. That should go to a college or the Library of Congress.
Oh, they don't need the money you do.
Oh, money is easy to get. Literature is impossible. Give it to the world, Walsh, not to me.
Well, why did you make me think of it then?
I didn't. I haven't thought of it in years.
Oh, really? Well, I'm pretty sure that you must have found it in there sometime. But did you mention it to me? No. Did you read it? You never even read it. But now that I'm leaving...
Again?
For the last time, Rose, you made me think about it.
Not for myself, Walsh, I swear.
Well, you don't have to swear. You want what I wrote, and I want you to have it. Hell, I wanted to fulfill the whole rest of your life. Come on, Rosie. Open up the cabinet. Let's take a look at it.
Oh, get it yourself. It's not my book.
Well, you know I can't do that. I can't open doors. I can't hold inanimate objects. Come on, get down on your knees. Get down on your knees. Open up that cabinet.
You haven't asked me to do that in a long time.
There. Now, pull open the cabinet. Okay. What do you see down there?
Dust. I've been saving for years.
Under the dust. I can see it from here. Grab the package, Rose. Come on.
Help me up.
Oh, you know I can't do that.
Ugh. I always wondered how those elderly Catholic women get up after Mass.
That's it. That's the package. Open it up, Rosie.
That's my old Christmas wrapping.
And your Christmas present is right in there. Come on. Yeah, open it up to the first page.
Mexican Standoff by Walsh McLaren. Yes, feels about 40 pages light. So how did you remember it was in there after all these years?
Well, someone's been keeping me alive, kid.
Damn right. Look, this book doesn't belong to me. You should give it to your ex-wife. What was her name? I forget.
You tell me.
Frida.
Yeah, that's right. Frida.
And what would I do with an unfinished book?
Finish it?
With you?
No, not with me. You know I can't create or recreate or procreate anymore. You're going to have to do it.
Me? I can barely see the typewriter these days.
Well, I've got someone to see it for you. You know, that paperback right over there, Rest in Pieces by Gavin Clancy. Found it in my bathrobe pocket. I don't know how it ended up in there, but anyway, this kid, well, he doesn't know the first thing about structure or style, but The kid can write. Rosie, he can take a sentence and swirl it around like smoke in thin air. Between him, you, and me, we can write together the best mystery novel in the last 30 years.
But you're going away, Walsh.
Well, you know I wouldn't turn down an opportunity like this.
But you've only got 2 weeks left.
Well, then we'll work night and day, downstairs and upstairs.
No, I can't do it. I can't write like you, and neither can some cheap paperback scribbler. If it's not your book, it's a fraud, Walsh, which is the one thing in life that you never were.
I'll be right in there with you pitching, kid. Listen, I'll watch the prose and you watch the style, and we'll let the kid watch the sex. Trust me, Rose, I know what I'm doing.
Do you? I'm the one who needs watching. I've known that book was in there for years. I knew it wasn't any good without you to finish it, or me to help. I thought of it. I hoped for it. Damn it, I dreamed of it, Walsh. Don't you understand what I've done?
You think I don't know that? You think I don't know how you think after all these years, living and dead? Look, kid, you are responsible for all of the joy in my life. And I'm not going to just let you have that book sit and collect dust in some corner. Geez, feels great to be back in the saddle again. Hey, meet me upstairs, Rosie. After 5 years, it's about time for me to take off this bathrobe and start writing again.
Oh, Arlene, I'm coming up to bed. Turn on your shower.
Oh, she called you this morning at 9 o'clock. She rarely does that. Okay. Gavin Clancy, Quogue, 631-472-8639. Got it. I certainly will. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Delacourt. She'll be very pleased to hear that.
I'd be pleased to hear what?
That Mr. Delacourt is a big fan. You look very chipper this morning.
I got lucky in bed. Who is Mr. Delacourt again?
A publisher. He said you called him at 9 a.m. this morning.
Oh, was that me? I was urged to do it.
He said Mr. Clancy is in Quogue and would be thrilled to see you. He left Clancy's number.
Quogue. That's only a short distance from here. Tell me again what Mr. Clancy does?
He wrote Rest in Pieces. He said you'd know.
I'd be the only one. God, what a night. Do I look younger?
Younger than what?
Younger than springtime.
Yes, you do. A little like early April. I'm glad you slept well. I closed my door and took a sleeping pill when I heard you cry out, "Oh, yes, yes, yes!" Gotta draw the line someplace.
Good. Then you didn't hear the rest of the night. Walsh found the last book he ever wrote. Mexican Standoff.
I never heard of it.
He never finished it. He died at the luncheon.
I'm sorry I didn't get to read it.
Every writer dies with an unfinished novel. I think it's some sort of affectation. He wants to finish it and leave me the royalties. I'd be as rich as Croesus.
Sounds like a busy night. How is he going to finish it?
Well, there are still 40 or so pages left to finish. He can't do it, and I certainly won't try. He has, however, found a ghostwriter. I can't believe I just said that.
Would that be Mr. Clancy?
A paperback author he found in his bathrobe pocket. Gavin Clancy from Delacourt.
How fortunate for you and Walsh.
Arlene, my bedroom love stories are really self-imposed torture sessions. It doesn't mean our love was that great. It means my need is so desperate. I'm a prisoner of my own romanticism, sitting here night after night, waiting to go up to my bedroom to simulate simulated sex.
If you don't believe it's real, why are you so afraid of losing him?
Because I'm afraid I won't make it through the rest of my life alone. Having Walsh here is like putting signs up all over the house. Think over my typewriter. Stop over the liquor cabinet. Sleep over my bed. Truth over my conscience.
The only signs men put up in my life were goodbye and I'm borrowing your car. How would you feel if you never saw him again?
Well, it hasn't happened yet. Not without me putting up a hell of a fight.
Why do you hold on so much, Rose?
Because he keeps me on my toes. He reminds me of what I'm supposed to do with my life. I still feel young around him, and sometimes I can almost feel his hands touching me, although he's smart enough never to try. The game has its rules, and we have to abide by them. Still, we have fun together, and the most wonderful, exasperating arguments, and miraculously, still make love up there.
How?
Well, it takes a huge personal investment, an enormous concentration. His afterlife is my best creation, and if keeping him means losing my sanity, I would consider it a fair exchange.
The truth, Rose, I'm envious of what you have.
Arlene, have you fallen in love with Walsh?
If I have, you have no one to blame but yourself.
That bastard. I knew I couldn't trust him.
Come on, Rose. It's not exactly adultery.
Oh, he'll find a way. Do you think this book is really Walsh's idea or my own mercenary invention?
Maybe a little of both? Another sign on the wall. Survive. Forget the book. Let's kick Walsh out of the house and let's both start a new life.
Not yet. Give me Mr. Clancy's number. Quogue. That's too convenient. Never trust a dead man you're living with. What do I say to him? Walsh McLaren asked me to call you. Yes, I know he's been dead, but I've been busy lately. 5 rings. He sleeps too late to be any good. Hello, is this Gavin Clancy? This is Rose Steiner. Yes, the writer. No, this isn't a gag. I don't gag in the morning. I got your number from Delacourt. That is your publisher, if I may ask? Oh, that long ago. I think Walsh picked someone deader than he is. This may sound strange to you, Mr. Clancy, as it does to me, but I have a business proposition for you. I need some help on a book I'm writing, and someone suggested you. Well, if you must know, it was Walsh McLaren. Yes, I know your book came out after he died. Perhaps he received an advanced copy. He's laughing. It sounds like he's on drugs.
He's just nervous. He knows he's out of his league.
Then why don't you talk to him?
Me? I spoke to Mr. Delacourt. I did my part.
Tell him to come over. Have a cup of tea with him.
He doesn't drink tea. He only takes stimulants with a needle.
Oh my God. Is Walsh in the room?
No, he's not in the room. He's in my head, manipulating me. Mr. Clancy, may I suggest we talk this out over tea? Tea. All right, beer will be fine. Here, at my place.
Reel him in slowly, Rosie. Don't give him so much slack.
Can I put my assistant on? She'll give you directions. How's 2 o'clock?
No, 2's no good. I'm with my analyst at 2. Make it 9.
Or can you make it at 9? Yes.
11's even better.
11 is better. Why? What are you doing at 9?
My stockbroker.
Arlene, talk to him.
Hello, Mr. Clancy. This is Arlene. I'm fine,
Rose,
thanks.
don't let
And
her
you?
get in some long conversation. We just don't have time for that.
Well, do you know where the Old Bridge Road is? In East Hampton. The Old Bridge Road.
Send a taxi for him.
Can you see me? Walsh, I mean.
Yes, he thinks you're very attractive.
Mr. Clancy? All right, forget the old bridge road. Do you know where Duck Lane is? That's right, just past the old bridge road.
If he can't think, how can he write?
Number 206.
Ask him what kind of beer he likes.
Ask him what kind of beer he likes.
He said Heineken.
How about a corned beef sandwich?
How about a lobster sandwich?
There isn't any. You ate it last night.
You finished the lobster salad?
I was hungry.
No, it's your first left just after the old bridge road.
The old bridge road, you moron, in North America.
5 minutes to 11. How long should I stay?
Until Walsh shows up.
Well, how will I know when he shows up?
I get funnier and more seductive. No, that's not Walsh. There's not enough of him left to ring a doorbell. Let the paperback writer in.
Where are you going?
I want to make an entrance. That way I have the advantage.
What do I say to him?
Can I get you a Heineken?
Oh, you let yourself in. I'm Arlene.
Yeah, you look too young for Rose.
Please, come in. Did you have any trouble finding the house?
I don't think so. I'm 5 minutes early. I went past Old Bridge Road.
Well, Miss Steiner just went out to, I'm not sure where she went out to, but she'll be right back. Can I get you a Heineken?
No thanks, just had one. She likes beer?
Not really. She had me go out and buy a case.
Oh, it's gonna be a long meeting. Do you know what this thing's about, this writing proposition?
Yes. Well, not really. She'll tell you.
You just give directions here?
No, I'm a friend. Well, more than a friend. She's my writing mentor.
I'm a writer too, already mentored.
Yes, she mentioned that. What do you do now, if I may ask?
That's what she said, if I may ask. I don't write those kinds of books. She write all of these?
Yes, she did.
So what does she want with some faded ex-writer who's got one book on the shelf, if I even had a shelf?
Well, I'm sure she'll tell you that.
Why not? You're very polite. She mentor your manners too?
Oh, you're on time, Mr. Clancy. You are Mr. Clancy? Well, you didn't have to dress.
So this isn't a gag after all.
If you thought it was a gag, why did you come, if I may ask?
I could use the money. If I don't get a writing job, I could paint your house.
No, my house never needs painting. I have a man from Sotheby's come out every winter and paint it with a very small brush.
Well, I could stay and prune your garden. Or does Christie's do that?
And I wondered why you gave up writing.
Just what I thought. Some slob who dresses down to impress the natives that he's an artist.
So, it's just the two of you that live here?
Why'd you ask?
Well, the guy at the gas station said there used to be a fella here. Another writer, I think. An older guy.
Oh, no. He was a Christmas tree tinsler.
Don't challenge him, Rosie.
He's just trying to be friendly.
Oh, Arlene, we're keeping you from bed. I won't stop you if you insist.
Well, I have been up since dawn. Good night, Mr. Clancy. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thanks for the directions. I'd driven right up into the Atlantic, belly up.
Look, let's lessen the tension here, Rose. Make him feel comfortable.
If there's a chair in here that you like, Mr. Clancy, you may sit in it.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't know why you picked me or what you picked me for. I've seen a couple of your plays. I've read a few of your books. You're uptown. I'm downtown. I don't think I fit in here, so let's just get to it. What's up?
He's nervous, Rose. He knows who you are and who he's not. So flatter him. about his book.
I don't usually read books like yours.
Well, I don't really write them for people like you.
No, flatter him. Tell him you liked it, for Christ's sakes.
So it's just the one book then, is it?
Well, I was a one-book man, Miss Steiner. You throw a stone, you make a ripple, and 2 years later you sink to the bottom. I just ran out of stones, man.
Pity that literature lost such a colorful character.
What are you doing, Rose? You're losing him. Get him a drink. Get him a Heineken.
I got by, wrote a few magazine articles, spent a year in a garage. I'm good with cars. Worked on a freighter hauling oil to South America. And a short stint as a private detective.
Private detective? So was the guy in the Mexican standoff. Grab him, Rosie. Nail him to the floor.
And what if I gave you an idea, Mr. Clancy, that might start your engines up again? One that could make a resounding splash at Doubleday. Would you be interested?
Of course he'd be interested. You're interested. He's interested.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
We got him. We got him. Make him an offer. Make him a deal.
Oh, will you stop it?
Did I say something wrong?
No, I get back spasms. It's all right. Here's the book I'm working on, Mr. Clancy. Read it and tell me what you think. I've taken the title page off so you won't be intimidated by my name.
Got ya. I don't know who wrote it, okay? Give me a few days with it.
No, we don't have a few days. I only got 2 weeks.
I know that.
Know what?
I know that the publisher will be calling me. He must have the book in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks? Why?
So it'll be out by Christmas.
So they could get the book out by Christmas.
They already have too many books out at Christmas.
It's a winter book, you goddamn idiot. I'm giving you a break, just letting you read it.
It's what they call a winter book. It's heavy enough to keep you warm and smart enough to keep you from going for a swim.
I don't get it, but I like you, Miss Steiner. Sure, count me in. Oh, if I do it, do I get a credit?
Yes,
No!
maybe.
Which one is it?
Isn't it enough you'll be well paid?
Yeah, it'll be enough. Will your friend be working with us too?
Me?
Who?
Your assistant.
Oh, he means the girl.
Oh, Arlene. Yes, if you like.
It's nice to have someone around to sharpen the pencils. So when do I read it?
Now, tonight, in here. I'm going up to bed.
I read quickly. What do I do when I'm finished?
Read it again.
Read it again.
I didn't even read my own book twice.
Well, maybe that's why your stones sank to the bottom. Good night, Mr. Clancy. I'll see you in the morning. Are you coming up?
What was that?
They say a storm is coming up. It's the perfect time to read a book.
I'm not coming up. I'm going to stay right here and make sure this guy doesn't skip any pages.
I said, come up. Come up. Come up, O storm of the sea. A brick a-brawning, a brook on the glee. Robert Burns. I'm sure you've heard of him.
I never met him. I see. Do you mind if I have a beer or two? You have Heineken?
Heineken is the only thing I drink.
We are going to work tonight, Rosie. We set the bait, he takes the hook, and we reel him in together.
Oh, baby, I love it when you talk like that.
Smells good. What time is it?
6:30.
Oh, am I up?
Well, you look up. I put some breakfast on the table for you.
Do you always get up this early?
Sometimes earlier. I'm not a good sleeper.
I could teach you how. You've got my number. What?
Nothing. Just sounded a little inappropriate to me.
I know, but it's only 6:30 in the morning. You visiting Rose or do you stay with her?
I stay with her for the summer.
I see. You stay with her. What's in it for you?
I don't understand.
Sure you do. What do you get out of it?
Friendship.
Don't you have any men friends you could stay with for the summer? What, another inappropriate remark?
Well, most of them seem to be. She's my closest friend. I've known her for years.
How close does it get?
If you hand me your cup of coffee, I'd be glad to throw it in your face.
Wouldn't be the first time. This is my third set of eyebrows.
Why are you taunting me?
Just seeing how far I can go.
Well, you can go back to Cove as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think so. She's waiting to hear what I thought of the book. I also saw you looking at me while I slept. Is that why you bought me some coffee?
No, we're just civilized here.
Yeah, I heard that about East Hampton. That's why I stay in Quag.
Look, I don't have time to trade petty banter with you. I have better things to do.
Like what? What better things do you have to do, if I may ask?
I'm writing a screenplay at the moment.
So you're a writer too. This place is lousy with them. Do I get to read your screenplay?
Mr. Clancy, I think you woke up on the wrong side of the couch.
Really? I usually wake up on the floor.
I can see why. The gutter would be more appropriate.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty seedy in the morning. I like your legs, if that's not too inappropriate.
Are you expecting a response to that?
It wasn't a crack. It's right here in the book. Look. Jake says to Madge, I'm pretty seedy in the morning. I like your legs. If that's all right to say, written right here by the master.
Yes, she's a very good writer.
That may be true, but she didn't write this. Walsh McLaren did. By the way, there's dust on the pages. How long has this been sitting around the house?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I didn't say it was a conspiracy, but something's fishy around here. She gets me to help her finish a book, except this isn't hers. I've read every Walsh McLaren story ever read. He puts his mark on every page, like notes to a treasury. I've never seen this book before, so why is she doing this?
I'm not sure. I only give directions.
Well, why don't we ask the great lady? When does she get up?
When she smells good coffee. Would you like another Heineken for breakfast, Mr. Clancy?
No thanks. Do you always wake up in a smart suit?
I don't really know. I think angels dress me in the morning. Thank you, dear.
Did you sleep well?
No, not yet. You're quite right, Mr. Clancy. It's Walsh's book, not mine. I didn't think I'd be able to keep it a secret for very long.
Did you know Walsh?
Slightly. He came here for lunch once and died on the patio.
Sorry. Did you know Walsh McLaren well?
Not in person.
And how did you get this book?
He left it on the table in gratitude for the lunch.
And you're trying to pass it off as your own? Any publisher already over 45 would notice it.
You're so clever. I'll bet you never spilled a drop of oil from that freighter. No, I am not trying to pass off the book as mine. The book will have Walsh's name on it and his name only. It's Walsh's name that will sell the book.
And why did he leave you an unfinished book?
Well, he didn't have time to finish it before he hit the flagstone.
Look, I may not wear clothes as smart as you, but I'm not as dumb as you think. However he died, you're going to need proof he left it to you. His estate would need verification. Otherwise, you and I would both have to defend ourselves in court.
I'm the executor of his estate and the sole owner of all his copyrights.
He gave that to you too? That must have been some lunch. And who would publish it? If the public finds out there was a ghostwriter, they would stay away from it like COVID.
And what if I told you that as you and I work on these last 40 pages, it will have Walsh McLaren's hand on it?
From the grave, or do you keep that in the house?
He lacked tact, among other things. He left me copious notes on how the book should be finished. And don't you dare be disrespectful to one of America's great literary figures.
I was out of line. Slap me anytime if you want.
Maybe after lunch.
May I see the copious notes?
I don't remember where I put them.
You don't know where the copious notes are to a book Walsh gave you regarding something that hasn't been opened since I went to college.
College? I wouldn't have thought you did. Where did you go?
To William and Mary.
And did you finish?
Just William.
Make up your mind. If you want to work on it with me and we complete it, I'll give you 10% of my royalties.
I wondered why you didn't get a better known writer. I would do this for nothing, but since I got my foot in the door, I'll push it open. How about 50%?
If I were you, I'd take my offer and go buy yourself a garage in Quogue.
A new book by Walsh McLaren is worth half the beachfront in Quogue. You made your offer, I made mine.
Take it, Rose. Take it. Don't slam the door on him.
You know where the door is, Mr. Clancy. Good luck on the rest of your shattered career.
Jeez.
Suits me. For the Heinekens.
Hey, where's he going?
It didn't work out.
In 2 minutes? Don't let him go, for Christ's sakes. We don't have time to do this.
I'll be damned if I let him swindle me and belittle you.
Belittle me? Oh, Walsh must be back.
Let's hear what he has to say about the book first, damn it.
Why? I don't think he could write his way out of an open elevator. I've made up my mind.
Call him now, or I'll never climb up those stairs again for you, Rose.
Gun in my ribs. Arlene, get Clancy back.
Is that what Walsh wants?
Walsh is dead. It's my idea. Everything he says is my idea.
Mr. Clancy.
Everything I say is not your idea. It's what you think I'd say if I was there.
But you're not here, so you have nothing to say that matters.
Well,
He's coming.
And don't tell me what to do.
Did Walsh just say something?
I am not your translator, Arlene.
I had a feeling I'd get a call back.
Don't be cocky with me. You can put that cigarette out in Quogue. Tell me what you thought of the book.
A little outdated, but no one writes that good today. What's the title?
Mexican Standoff.
Perfect. No one's alive at the finish.
Well, we don't know what the finish is.
It was a suggestion.
not bad. He's ahead of us, Rose. We either change the title or the finish.
Arlene, get your pad out. Eavesdropping on nothing is pointless.
So what's with the two of you?
Which two?
You and her. Did I miss anyone?
Arlene and I are not lovers, if that's what you think. And I don't give a damn what you think.
No offense, but she jumps through hoops anytime you want her to. So I thought, you know, Gertrude Stein and Alice.
Gertrude Stein and Alice weren't lovers. They were just in the same outfit in the First World War.
Ask him about the book. Time is fleeting.
Tell me what you think the book is about.
Deceit. Two people that never said an honest word to each other. Mexican standoff.
So far, so good.
I don't agree at all. Not being able to tell the truth is an ailment. Deceit is not telling the truth to gain advantage.
Well, it comes to the same thing.
I don't see the difference.
I like this kid.
Then why don't you work with him?
With who?
With Walsh's book, she means.
Look, you asked me to tell you what I thought the book was about, and I told you.
Arlene, read back what you have.
I don't have anything.
This is not the way to collaborate, Rose.
Anyway, you can't just take things out of context and...
Never wrote anything out of context.
Well, I did if I needed to.
You let me handle this.
Do you always practice everything you're going to say?
Yes, that's how I avoid rewriting.
Look, Walsh never gave the slightest hint to where the book was going.
That's called style, kid.
Or maybe he just got stuck.
I was unstuckable.
I cannot work like this.
Sorry.
Sorry.
And stop repeating everything.
I just said it once.
We can't all work together at the same time.
You mean the both of us?
And Walsh.
Walsh?
She didn't mean Walsh. She meant you and her.
Stay out of this, Arlene.
I will. I swear I'm out.
Are you taking notes?
I never hear where the notes should be.
Oh, try harder.
Can we get back to the book? Don't you think it's interesting that this is the page that Walsh stopped on?
Not in the least.
Not in the least.
Why not?
Well, because he's a writer, and when writers die, there's always a page they stop on.
This is confusing. Why don't we back up a few pages and go for our own ending?
Which is what?
I don't know.
Aren't there any other writers in Code who can help us?
It's falling apart, Rose. It's crumbling right before our eyes.
Well, what do you expect me to do about it?
Well, as I suggested, why don't we back up and go for our own ending?
We've gotten off to a bad beginning, Mr. Clancy. Why don't we call it a day?
No, not yet, Rose. We need him.
I don't think we do.
Why do I get the feeling it's not me you're talking to?
Don't answer that, Rose.
I'll answer whatever I feel like. Mr. Clancy, I have something to tell you.
Don't do it, Rose.
It's not a good idea, Rose.
Oh, will you both shut up?
I thought I already did.
All right, Mr. Clancy, I have something to tell you. Meet Walsh McLaren. Don't bother looking for him, you won't see him, but he is right here in the room with us.
I see. Well, there's a medical name for that.
The name for it is obsession. My obsession. He resides in my head, in my soul. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Overwork?
I have nightly conversations with a dead man. Well, some nights we have more than conversations. Some nights we...
Dance. I often hear them dancing.
Stop it, Rose. You've gone too far.
You sent for him, I didn't.
Actually, it was Arlene.
I just gave him directions.
This was a mistake, Mr. Clancy, ever since you arrived from Quagmire.
Quag.
I know it's Quogue. I was making a point.
And it's a very good point. We're all in a quagmire here. But I have an idea, Miss Steiner.
Why don't you tell it to Mr. McLaren?
Well, I would, but you would just think I was humoring you.
I don't think there's anything you could say that would humor me. I think you're unqualified to finish this book. I've let this go too far, and have revealed to you something I wouldn't even tell my own mother. Oh, don't look for her. My mother died 40 years ago. I would like you to leave now.
Wait, please. I believe you see him. I believe you hear him. I envy you being able to spend so much time with him.
Fine, and then why don't you stay and work out your ideas with Mr. McLaren?
God damn it, Rose. Stop it. You're making a tragedy of this.
Oh, why not? It's my tragedy. Walsh is leaving my life soon, out of my head and out of my life. His attempt to secure my future with an annuity was a pipe dream, much as he is.
I didn't mean to cause a problem between the two of you.
Arlene, would you show him the door?
Would you mind if I said goodbye to Mr. McLaren?
Yes, this is not a ride at Disneyland. Arlene, show him the door.
He knows where it is.
Good day, Clancy. And please don't tell the New York Post about this. They'll want pictures of the four of us. Oh, but come back and see Arlene again. For some reason, I think she doesn't mind you.
I'd like that. Can I take the book and home and read it again? I think I get it now.
Hey, yes, Rose.
Walsh wants me to say yes.
Thank you, both of you. Goodbye. Mr. McLaren, I was honored more than you'll ever know. I'm sorry I couldn't help it.
Arlene, see that he brings the book back tomorrow.
What are you gonna do for money now, Rose?
I don't know. I'll rent the house. Maybe I'll sell it.
Yeah. Only house that you have.
Well, I'll teach literature, if I can remember it.
Is this because of me, Rose? Don't do it because of what I said. I know how much you love this place.
Well, sometimes you have to let go of what you love.
Tell me about it. I've got 12 days left, Rose. You can agree to work with him or practice waving goodbye.
Arlene, get him back.
Yes!
My God, the girl is actually alive.
Oh, you're up early. Are you working on the book?
No, Arlene, I'm not.
Because Clancy called and he said he had a few ideas.
How few?
I don't know. Should I ask him to come over?
No. Tell him to keep working on his Heinekens.
I think he's pretty smart, Rose.
Well, he got smart too late. The book is over. I just got a goodbye letter from Walsh.
He wrote a letter?
I think he did. And what I think he thinks is usually true. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, of course.
Dear Rose, when you wake in the morning, I will be gone. Gone forever. I'm terribly sorry to leave so abruptly, but it was bound to happen one day. I lied to you a few days ago, or you lied to yourself. The reason I'm leaving is not that I'm 65. I don't know how old I am. Once you die, you become atheists. It's only the living who count the years they're gone. I left because wherever I'm going to, or always have been since we first parted, was to save your sanity. The trouble, as we both know, is that we played this game too long. Seeing me day in and day out, sleeping in the same bed night after night, indulging in sexual pleasures that only you could think of, never really happened. It's because you had such a vivid imagination that we were both able to play out whatever you chose to create. And it was oh so wonderful. And I fear that if I don't leave now, it will eventually destroy your reason. It's time to live your own life, Rose, and think of me only from the past. I'm not really here, Rose. Live your own life now, because you still have so much to offer the world. Do I love you as you imagined for these last 5 years? I guess I must have, because in all the years I rested in my tomb, or the place that some people call heaven, I always longed for you. Or perhaps that's what you wanted me to do. So I say goodbye, Rose, and looking to see whatever love gave us in our days during life, will continue in some peaceful heaven that so few of us believe in. Live on, Rose, my sweet, beautiful Rose. I won't be coming back to you, ever, I suppose. This letter is my own true hand that writes in your mind. It's complicated to make sense of this, but you're smart enough to handle it. Love, Walsh.
Oh, God. That's the most wonderful letter I ever heard.
Yes, isn't it? The problem is, did I write it? Or did Walsh?
Clancy, it's Arlene. Sorry I missed you. Yes, dinner tonight is fine. Rose told me to tell you she doesn't want to discuss the book. Better not call here. I'll call you later.
You don't have to.
Oh my God. I thought it was...
Walsh, don't count me out yet. Sometimes I just look past the way.
It's not funny. She's taking a nap upstairs.
Alone, or is the big guy taking one with her?
Shh.
Sorry, I came to tell her I did about 20 pages of Walsh's book.
You did? I don't know how she'll take that.
She'll never see it. Writing it was climbing uphill. What came out was all downhill. I know when I'm licked.
I'm sorry you went to all the trouble.
No sweat. Walsh wrote in rhythms that even Mozart would envy. And his characters were so complex. I'd have to send the book through MIT first. His title was prophetic. We all ended up in a Mexican standoff.
Is that the book you have here?
This? No. This is the sequel
To what?
to my first and only book. Rose got my juices flowing again. It doesn't stand up to Walsh, but it stands up to me.
I'd love to read it.
Just the title page. I'm not ready to show anybody yet.
Death on the Patio. Is this about Rose and Walsh?
Yes, in a way.
In what way?
In a specific way. Of course it's them!
Kevin, what have you done? She'll sue you for plagiarism.
Why? I'd give her 50% of my profits.
She doesn't want your profits. Not if you reveal these last few years with her and Walsh. Don't expose the fantasies of a sick woman.
I never thought of her as sick. She refused to portray his work at the cost of a renewed lifestyle for her. It's a ghost story, Arlene, with a ghost that has more charm, dignity, and compassion since the walking spirit of Hamlet's father. And hell of a lot funnier. I don't mock her. I glorify her.
It's her life, and Walsh's afterlife written by her, real or not, and whatever she heard or thought she heard is her sole property.
I'm trying to do for her what Walsh wanted, to give her last year some comfort. Walsh's book or my book, what's the difference?
Because you can't quote conversations that no one ever heard, including Rose, and what makes you so sure you'd ever make a dime out of your book?
Well, I gave it a sneak look at Doubleday. They offered me more fingers than I ever counted on, but I won't take it until she approves.
She won't.
I think she will. It was Walsh's last request. Now that I can fulfill it, I can't bring him back, but maybe I can bring back what he wanted to leave her.
Who said he did? Only she heard it, and she heard only what she wanted to hear.
She remembered the cupboard where the book was. She took it out. Whose idea was to get it completed and make her some money? Maybe it was her conscience that made it Walsh's idea. Maybe she's the one that put the book in my pocket.
Maybe. I just want to protect her.
The woman protects herself. If she were in the army, she'd be a tank. The woman has warded off everything from the US government questioning her loyalty. Theater critics allowed her 2-3 big hits, then started throwing bricks at her. She hung around with that alcoholic genius who was never faithful to her. All of that, and not a single living relative in the world would stand up for her. Am I right about all that?
Except for the single living relative.
She has one? Who?
A daughter,
Where is she?
right here, talking to you.
Is this a joke?
Do I look like a joke?
When did this happen?
A long time ago. In New Orleans, she knew her life was no place to raise a baby, and my father, offered to take me off her hands.
Why didn't she tell anyone?
Because that might have scandalized all three of us. Rose Steiner's abandoned baby and things like that, but I wasn't. I was just out on loan. She sent me gifts every Christmas and took me to dinner every birthday. We never had a mother-daughter relationship, and that was fine with me. I loved my father, and she and I were friends without obligations. She probably wouldn't have made a very good mother, but she became my best friend, and I like calling her Rose instead of Mom.
And no one knows this.
No one that I know, not even Walsh.
And of all people, why are you telling me this?
Stop me from making a fool of her in your book.
Read the book. If you don't like it, I'll burn it with the rest of my unpublished offerings.
And if you tell anyone what I just told you, we'll deny everything you say, and I'll sue you.
Despite the fact that you have a crush on me?
What?
Will you sue me if I put that in the book?
Probably. Can I read your book tonight?
We were going to dinner.
I can read and eat at the same time.
I knew there was something interesting about you. Now I see you're goddamn fascinating.
Guess where I got it from.
Is it because you wanted to take care of your mother that you never married?
No,
Then why?
because Walsh was the love of her life. And even though I never met him, I was looking for someone like him.
Even though he wasn't always faithful to her?
So you give up a little sometimes.
Would you be satisfied with that? Someone who wasn't always faithful to you?
Are you proposing an unfaithful relationship to me?
No, I already had one. Do I remind you of Walsh?
No, he lived in my mother's mind. You're just
What?
a guy from Quogue.
You don't find quaggies attractive?
A little, but it'll go away in the morning.
And what if it didn't go away in the morning?
Gavin, there's not a chance in the world that you and I would... get together so quickly.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
No, I liked it. Just warn me first. Would you like some lunch, Rose?
I'm sick of your watery tuna salad.
Do you want to come down or shall I bring it up?
If you bring it up, I'll only throw it up. Take it away. I don't want to see it.
I'll put it outside for the dog.
What dog?
The one who comes around every day to eat the breakfast I made for you.
Well, stop making breakfast for strange dogs. We're trying to save money. Just give him a bagel and cream cheese and send him on his way. I told you to get rid of the sun.
I've tried. It persists in shining.
Except when you want to go to the beach. Let's close the blinds.
Then you say it's too gloomy in here.
Well, gloom is very popular these days. Go on, let's run up our electric bill. You can pay it out of your salary.
You don't pay me a salary.
And you can see why. Have any dead riders washed up on the beach lately?
Stop it, Rose. That's not funny.
He would think so.
Why don't you get dressed and we'll take a walk?
Wearing what? I'm selling off all my clothes. Remember, I'm trying to support myself. Do I have anything you'd like? You can have it for 10% off.
It's not really my style, Rose.
No, you're much prettier than I am. You can thank your father for that.
You always said brains before beauty.
Of course. I was hopeful someone would believe me.
Let's get out of the house, Rose. You can't sit here and mourn forever.
I only mourn some of the time. It's the trouble with people who won't stay dead. Why don't you go see what's his name? I hear you talking to him. Francie, was it?
Clancy, you know it's Clancy. Stop pretending you've aged 10 years in the past 4 weeks.
Who says I'm pretending? Sometimes it's important for a woman my age to let herself fall apart. It's like a pit stop on the road to eternity. Oh, that was good. Write that down so I can use it in my next book.
Are you thinking of a next book?
I'm always thinking of one. It's better than actually writing one. Ask my publisher if I can sell a book I'm just thinking about.
Well, there's another book. Gavin wrote it. I don't think you'd like it very much. It's about you and Walsh. He doesn't use your names, but anyone who knows you will figure it out.
And what do you want me to do? Sue him for libel?
He wants permission from you to publish the book. Doubleday offered him 10 times what he made on his first book, and for your permission, he'll give you half of his royalties.
Did you read it?
Twice.
Is it any good?
He has no right to publish it.
That's not my question, Arlene. Is it good? Is it prose-worthy?
Well, he has style, obviously following in the footsteps of Walsh. I think most critics will see through it.
Just answer my question.
It's not bad, but reminiscent.
Of what?
Mexican standoff.
How are the last 40 pages?
Well, that's the odd thing. The last 40 pages are quite good.
Dear God.
What is it, Rose?
Rest in pieces.
What about it?
Well, lately I've been wondering how Clancy's book got in Walsh's bathrobe pocket. And suddenly I remembered. I found it in a secondhand bookshop, in the mystery section. Sometimes Walsh was in mystery and sometimes he was in literature, and I would always take him out of mystery and put him in literature where he belonged. And I saw this title there, Rest in Pieces, which I didn't particularly like, but it sounded like a younger Walsh. And when Walsh was out of the room, I slipped it into his robe pocket. I put it there.
Let's go into town. I made an appointment with Carlotta to do something with your hair.
No, she always makes my head look like a postage stamp from Lithuania. Besides, she charges too much.
Then I'll pay for your hair.
No. Walsh was fond of my hair. He said my hair always looked like it was thinking. Come back, Walsh. Even as a Dover soul, I'll know it's you. Am I shocking you, Arlene?
No, I think if you talk about him, it will at least get your mind off of thinking about him.
Think before you say things like that, Arlene. Then they'll know you went to a proper school.
I'll accept your insults, Rose. If we can just get out for an hour, the fresh air will do you good again.
But he might come back. I must be here if he comes back.
He's not coming back, Rose. You let him go forever. You didn't want to finish his book, and now you're free. Don't you understand?
Free? You think I'm free? I'm worse off than I was before. I'm a prisoner of his absence for the rest of my life. If only I'd helped finish his goddamn book. I gave away the last week I could have spent with him, and that's what I regret. That I cherished his words more than his presence. He was everything to me.
If love is so real, why did you both drink so much?
To keep the love real. A life cold sober can do terrible things to a love affair. After Walsh died, I was sitting right there in that chair. And I prayed to God, despite the fact that I'm not a religious woman, that I could see Walsh again. To talk to be with, to have him touch me. And then I heard his voice, his rich, warm voice say to me as if nothing had happened, "What's for dinner, Rosie?" And I looked up, petrified at first. He was sitting right there wearing this ratty bathrobe and these slippers that I'd bought him for Christmas. He'd come back from the dead. And what do you think I said to him?
What?
What if I set out for Chinese? Just what I was thinking, he said. I was not going to question a dead man asking for Chinese food. So I decided to accept what was given to me. I would have welcomed him if he came in a bottle of formaldehyde. He came close to me and I reached out to touch him. But I couldn't feel his face or his hands. What I touched was his essence. But it didn't frighten me because I didn't want to frighten him. After all, the man might not know he was dead. So we talked and laughed all night, and we ate the kung pao chicken and the dim sum with the white rice. And we even had the fortune cookies. Do you know what mine said?
Yes. Take what is offered to you. It may not come this way again.
That's right.
The summer's almost over. Let's pack up and go back to New York. See your friends, go to your favorite restaurants. Let the world see that you're still a vibrant woman.
I can't afford false dignities. Who would I fool? My eyes grow dimmer every day. I miss him. And if he did come back, I'd have to hear his voice to know he was in the room, or smell that faint cologne that he always wore that cost him more than he got for a short story. He was vain, you know, but never conceited. There's a very delicate difference, you understand.
Rose, we go through this every day.
Did I ever tell you how we met?
1,000 times.
Well, if it's worth telling, it's worth listening to again. It was at this restaurant in Hollywood, the Brown Derby, and I can't remember if he came over to my table or I went over to his. And
Did I ever tell you what I did when I was 19?
I shouldn't even be sitting here. This was his chair. He might even be in it now, but I can't see him or hear
Did I
him.
ever tell you what I did when I was 19?
No. Why didn't you tell me when you were 19? Arlene!
You are so unapproachable. Not even my father could get through to you. It was so daunting to talk to you. You're not someone a daughter would want to compete with.
I never thought that's what you wanted. You should have spoken up.
I guess you're right. I should have spoken up.
It's never too late.
I'm 27. I needed you when I was 19.
All right. Pretend you're 19.
I don't want to pretend. I'll take my chances with saying what I feel now. It's bad enough that I lost all those early years with you, but when I finally get here, actually move in with my own mother, I'm shut out again. I can almost understand coming in second to Walsh, but coming in second to the ghost of Walsh is more than I can handle. And even though it's your voice I hear in your nightly conversations with him, I tend to take his side. You hold on to him even after his death because you miss him so much, and still you dominate the conversations. Some nights I want to call out from upstairs, "Don't let her push you around, Walsh. She let me go when I was a child and kept you after you died. How much control does a woman need?" Sometimes I wished he was the child and I was the one who died. At least then I'd have my nights with you. I cherished all the letters you sent to me because that's all I could get from you, but it's hard to hug a letter, Rose, especially when she doesn't sign it Mother.
I think that's the longest I've ever let you speak without interrupting you. Please tell me what happened when you were 19.
It's over, Mom. I'm not plagued by it anymore.
But I will be for the rest of my life. Please tell me, Arlene.
All right. I was angry with my father because he didn't fight hard enough to keep a mother for me. So at 19, I had an affair. He was 41 and married with 2 children. I didn't think about what his wife felt, if she knew, or what his kids felt. All I knew was that somebody loved me, and I didn't have to wait for my birthday for someone to show their love. It lasted 8 months before his wife left him, and he spent all his time trying to get her back, which left me on the phone trying to find you in Paris or London or Rome. And then I heard from you. "Darling, Mother won the Pulitzer Prize today. And finally, you came to my college graduation to make the commencement address. And at last we were together. Well, at least we were commencing."
What have I done to you?
You've listened to me, and that's enough.
Not for me. How do we get on with our lives?
Well, you can come with me and let Carlotta do your hair. What is it, Rose? Are you all right? Rose.
Arlene, he's here. But I can't see him. Why can't I see him? He's afraid to let me see him. He's trying to fight through, but I won't let him in.
That's it, Mom. Fight him. Fight yourself. Don't bring him back. He doesn't have the power you have.
Arlene, what can I do? Talk to me, please.
Maybe it really is over, Mom. Maybe it's the end of it. Maybe it's time to let Walsh go.
It's so hard to do.
Don't stop talking to me, Mom. Don't look for him. Look at me. You gave more to the world than being a mother. I think you're a great woman, Rose.
Walsh.
Leave her alone, Walsh. This is my time with her, not yours. Get out of her head, goddammit. Go away. I know you're dead, Walsh, but I could kill you again. Trust me. I'll give you 3 seconds to get out of here.
It's all right, honey. He's gone. It's all right.
Are you sure? Because I could get a broom or something. I kill spiders all the time.
Arlene, this is our time, yours and mine. Walsh meant no harm. He wasn't even here. I did it to myself. If you like, you can publish Clancy's book. It's Walsh's gift to all of us.
Really? Because I think I'm in love with him. With Clancy. He's a wonderful writer, honest.
I know. I never really gave him a chance.
It's all right.
I have to be strong now. Walsh won't understand. I've never done this to him before. Something's wrong, Arlene. This is not a good time for me to leave you. Call the hospital, pack some things for me, whatever you like. Arlene, don't worry. We'll get through this too. That's all right, honey. I'll get it.
Hi. I was wondering where you were. I miss you too.
Is that Clancy? Say hello for me.
Well, I'm going to need some help with my suitcases. What good news? All right, I'll wait.
Wait for what?
Love you too.
Is anything wrong?
And how are we today?
Well. Been to the St. Patrick's Day parade?
No, I see enough saints where I am already anyway.
Just getting out some old duds for the fun of it?
No, Rose, me darling. I've just come from the wedding of a friend, a writer friend of mine.
What am I doing? I'm not supposed to be here. I don't see you anymore. Well, I do, but I'm not supposed to.
Well, it's all right, Rosie. Arlene won't see me anyway.
I promised her it's over. I promised myself.
Well, nothing's written in stone except maybe hieroglyphics. So, shall I tell you about the wedding?
She may come back down and she may hear me talking to you.
Well, I don't think so. My friend, Charles Dickens, got married. Didn't write a book today, so he took a wife.
I'm not listening.
Yeah, his poor wife died some years ago. So he married her sister. It was a lovely wedding. Herman Melville was there, Guy de Maupassant. He came with Elizabeth Browning, and she came with Jane Austen.
Please don't talk to me, Walsh. Oh, where are you going with the bags, dear? Arlene, I'm talking to you.
Well, they get in moods like that sometimes. Truman Capote read for part of the service. He read a chapter from In Cold Blood. It's completely self-serving and just totally out of taste.
What's going on here, Walsh? You didn't come here to tell me about a wedding.
Well, perhaps not.
I was feeling so good today, and now you spoiled everything.
Well, to tell the truth, Rose, you look kind of tired. What have you been doing today?
Nothing. Well, actually, I was adding up the sum of my life. I haven't been very well liked, you know.
Well, that was just by the people, though.
Oh, shut up.
But Arlene and I, well, we think that you're wonderful, and despite the fact that you could have been a better mother.
Yes, well, we've already settled that.
Well, we'll see. There's always a few thunderbolts after the storm. Clancy, on the other hand, well, he really admires you.
He does he? Tell me something. Is he for real, or is he just you 30 years ago?
Well, we won't know about that for another 30 years, will we?
Arlene!
Well, the kid has good timing.
You rushed out so early this morning. Why didn't you wake me?
I left a kiss on your lips. Did you read it yet?
Are you in love or are you just feeling good?
How'd your day go?
It's still hard. I see her everywhere I go. Anyway, what happened at the meeting?
Damn good news. Doubleday wants the book out for Christmas.
I thought you said Christmas books get lost in the crowd.
I was misinformed.
There's a reason they don't see me, Walsh. What is it?
Young love. When you're in it, you could miss the Grand Canyon.
I met with the head of PR. He said he cried when he read it. He said knowing Rose, people might think it's fiction.
I can understand that. Come on upstairs. I need help with the bags. I want to close up the house tonight.
Why not in the morning? Tonight's too good of a night to waste.
I'll toss you for it.
I'd love to be tossed by you.
What did she mean, close up the house tonight? What's that about?
Well, I'm sorry. I thought this was all clear to you.
You're getting so vague, Walsh. I think I've outgrown you.
Not possible, Rosie. Like two sequoia trees, we touch the sky together.
I can't understand why Arlene or Clancy didn't say a word to me.
Oh, good God, you really don't know.
Know what? Are you saying?
I'm afraid so.
I'm afraid to say the word. Dead?
Or deceased, or gone, or passed away, or demised. What else?
Oh, I can't catch my breath.
Well, there's a very good reason for that. You had a heart attack, Rosie. Same as I did. With the same exact results. The results were identical.
Well, why don't I feel that I'm dead?
Well, you would if you were still alive, but, well, that's not accurate. Well, give it some time.
The most important event of my life, and I missed it.
Well, sometimes one never knows, but it actually happens. You were one of the fortunate ones.
What's fortunate about it?
Well, you sort of slipped right through.
And does Arlene know? Well, of course she does. She couldn't see me. Oh, my poor baby. Were you there when it happened?
No, I was at my club. I was told by a friend of mine that passed away as well.
And were you sad or happy?
Well, a little of both. I don't mean that an unfeeling as it might sound. It was bad for you, I get that, but it was pretty good for me.
Rose Steiner is dead. How unusual for me. Exactly what time did it happen?
Is the time really that important?
Every second of life is important. Am I still in my body? No, I couldn't be. Where is my, whatever they call it?
The loved one, as they call it, is lying at rest in the Green Rose Cemetery. You'll like it. It's as green as Ireland.
Was anyone there? No, don't tell me.
Well, yes. In fact, it was a very large crowd. People drove up from everywhere.
Yes. What a thing for me to miss.
Well, not really. You had the best seat in the house.
And this house? Is Arlene selling it?
Well, from what I understand, they're just closing it up for the winter, and they'll be back next year. They say it's the perfect place to write.
And what about my furniture and my books and my clothes?
Well, do you really care?
Why does everyone have to give up everything when they die?
Well, the galaxy's an enormous creation, but there's never enough closet space.
And I suppose you and I will be together for eons and eons?
Oh, maybe one eon.
Still have your bags packed in the hallway, hey Wash? And I suppose no more writing. Well, I don't really mind laying down my pen. I didn't have that much left to say anyway. What we want to keep are the things we loved the most. The flowers we planted, the houses we built, the friends we made, and the children we raised, or almost raised. No, I always thought when I died, I'd have the Philharmonic Orchestra there. No, Maria Callas?
Booked for the next 3 years.
The body goes, but the vanity lingers on. Can I see what I look like, dead? Oh, shit! Oh, God. I'm sorry. Is it all right to say that when you're dead?
Well, millions have said it before you.
Let me have another look. Actually, you know, it's not that bad. That dry skin you have as you age isn't there anymore.
Well, if they only had a chain of stores, they could make a fortune. Let's go, Rose.
So what now?
Well, the tunnel is next.
A tunnel?
We all go through the tunnel that leads to the light at the end.
Oh, don't make it sound like a Greer Garson movie. What tunnel? I don't like tunnels. They frighten me. Where is it?
Well, I can't exactly describe it accurately, but it looks kind of like the Lincoln Tunnel.
Are you telling me that I'll come out in New Jersey?
Just take it as it comes, Rose.
And did they settle on the title?
Just what you asked for. Rose and Walsh.
Thank you. Gavin, could you give me 5 minutes alone in the house? There's something I have to do.
Fine. I want to take some of your mother's plants with me anyway. They'll freeze outside.
God, he'll water them with Heineken. And what about Arlene? Was I able to say goodbye to her?
That you did, Rose.
I lost all those years with her, and now I've lost her forever.
Nah, she'll remember you even better than it was.
Rose, Mom. This drink is for you. I love you.
And I love you too, Angel.
The conversation, Rose.
Oh,
This is between Arlene and herself.
of course.
I said some pretty harsh things to you when we had that long talk. I still mean them. Not because I'm still angry, but I thought they would be said and you let me, so Here's to you.
There's a better bottle in the cellar.
That's not the point, Rose.
Oh.
It may be too late to get the record straight, but I'm proud and elated that Rose Steiner was my mother. Who wouldn't be? Please don't be angry or feel guilty when I said I missed you as a child. I'm supposed to miss you. If I didn't, what kind of daughter would I have been? And I understand now how difficult a life it is to be judged all the time, to have to live up to expectations. If this gets too syrupy, please just speak up.
It's not syrupy at all. It's exactly what I would... Oh, sorry, dear. I'm not used to playing this part.
You're a loving woman. I've seen that with you and Walsh. And if I didn't get all the years with you, I got the best of them. I know you had a very tough childhood, and growing up like that deprived you of the softness. You thought that was weakness. It's not, Mom. I see that now. Walsh wasn't always an easy man to spend your life with.
There, you see?
But he saw through your toughness. He saw the loving part of you.
Telling you that she understands, Rose. She's giving you a higher grade than you ever got before.
So here's to you again, Mom. There's one thing I'm sure of, that heaven will embrace you with all its love, and you'll be happy forever.
Well, you have to go through the Lincoln Tunnel first.
Then
I
it
could talk
looks
to you
like the Lincoln Tunnel.
I could talk to you like this for hours, but the glass is empty.
Some other time then.
Can we go, honey? The traffic's gonna get heavy and I don't want to get stuck in the tunnel.
Bye, Mom. Goodbye, Walsh. Give her a kiss for me. I may call on you from time to time.
That light never turns off.
Come on, Rose.
I always felt so safe in this house.
It's not your house anymore, Rose. Come on. Give me your hand.
I'm afraid.
Of the cold hand of death. I wouldn't do that to you, Rose. Come on. Just place it right here in mine.
Feel it. I feel it, Walsh. Oh, it's so good to feel you again. It's so warm and comforting.
Now, blow out the light, Rose.